Hi everybody, welcome to Ecodriver. My name is Helmut. Today I show you with the Ford Kuga or Escape full hybrid how to get a fuel consumption of around 4.5 liters per 100 kilometers in mixed traffic without being an obstacle to other road users. This car is the ST Line X, has a 2.5 liter Atkinson engine with 140 kilowatts, 190 horsepower. The electric motor delivers 92 kilowatts, 125 horsepower, and the battery contains 1.1 kilowatt hours. Unladen weight is 1,773 kilograms, 3,901 pounds. We have winter tires, and this car is equipped with the excellent hybrid drivetrain with this CVT gearbox, but it needs to be said that this isn't an isolated gearbox, it's Ford's hybrid system which integrates the electric motors and interworks perfectly with the planetary gear set. It's similar to Toyota's HSD system, and I predict that we see this in the result. Speaking about result, here you see the loop we are doing. We start on the southern outskirts of Innsbruck, go out of town for a kilometer on a 30 km per hour zone, just in case you are wondering why I am not going faster. We then have a climb which elevates us around 360 meters, 1100 feet, followed by rolling hills and a descent. Open roads, motorway and the city section conclude this test loop. After every section we check the overall and sectoral consumption, and at the end we analyze the whole trip. The cameras will be on all the time to A. show how I am driving, and B. prove that there is no need to go slow or be a blockage on the road in order to drive efficiently. I hope you enjoy this trip and the scenery. I'll talk to you after every section. At the end of the climb, we have 10.1 liters per 100 kilometers. We are now approaching the hills, and with a constant change of gradient, you can use this to your advantage. If it goes down, build up some speed, and with this momentum, you can go into the next hill or flat section, and this helps you to reduce the amount of external energy you need. If it goes up, at least on shorter hills, reduce the speed slowly and constantly, and if it flattens or goes down, then you can re-accelerate. If you compare this to a roller coaster, then it's becoming obvious how efficient this can be. .6 liters per 100 kilometers at the end of the hills. What you also can do with hybrids on hilly roads is trying to have the combustion engine going off just before you hit the top of a hill, before it goes down, by lifting the foot off the accelerator a bit. This drivetrain reacts very swiftly on your actions with your right foot, and this of course helps to drive in EV mode. You see here we have done around 40% of the distance so far in EV mode, despite having gained around 500 meters or 1500 feet of altitude. With full hybrids on descents, we have an issue we have to cope with. The electric motor is relatively small and not very strong. We have 92 kilowatts and a 1.7 ton vehicle. That means that it's highly likely that when braking on the approach of a hairpin, or we need to brake from higher speeds, we exceed the regenerative capacity of the small motor. If that happens, the friction brakes are used and we waste the energy that is stored in the altitude. We don't get back the energy that we have invested beforehand to lift the vehicle up. So it's important to make sure to brake gently and stay within the capacity of the electric motor. Having said that, here we have a longer descent, around 6 kilometers, 4 miles, and the battery will be full pretty quickly. So we will waste energy anyway, as the battery is simply too small to store all the energy that potentially could be produced on the way down. This is where plug-in hybrids with a bigger battery make really more sense. .3 liters per 100 kilometers at the end of the descent. You noticed that we had two slow cars in front of us, which prevented us from going really efficiently, especially to pass the flat sections. Once again, proof that going slow doesn't mean you go efficient. .5 liters per 100 kilometers after the open roads, and we are approaching the motorway with a restriction to 100 kilometers per hour, 62 miles per hour. You see on the dashboard that we've covered exactly half of the distance electrically. Let's see how this develops until the end. 4.8 liters per 100 kilometers at the end of the motorway. We're coming to the final section of the day, city traffic. As it costs a lot of energy accelerating the vehicle, it's important to try to keep the car in motion and avoid coming to a complete halt. Even the fact that we are getting back energy when we are braking still means that this is less efficient than not braking at all. Why is that? Well, we never get back what we have invested in the first place. So in order to regenerate energy, you need to use around double the amount of energy beforehand or afterwards to do so. Best way to drive efficiently is to avoid a change of speed. If you have to brake, and of course it can't be avoided, then the same principle applies which I have mentioned on the descent. Brake gently in order to stay within the regenerative ability of the small electric motor. Ford has a nice feature, it's called Brake Coach. It shows you how much of the potential brake energy you manage to get back into the battery. You might have noticed that I managed 100% most of the time. This means I haven't wasted kinetic energy by making use of the friction brakes. Accelerating in a full hybrid also makes a huge difference in consumption. If you have to, try to do it in a way that the electric motor is used as much as possible. If you step on the gas pedal too hard, the combustion engine will kick in much sooner, simply because you need more power than the electric motor can deliver. And most of the time there is no need to accelerate really hard, as there is other traffic around you, which prevents you from a race-like start anyway. Also, try to read the road, anticipate what other road users are going to do, and use every information available to avoid the unnecessary use of energy. For example here, I know there is a traffic light after this curve. I don't see the lights yet, but the car in front of me is already on the brakes and the crossing traffic just starts moving. So my excessive consumption of Sherlock Holmes stories now pays off, as I come to the conclusion that the lights must show red. It's elementary, dear viewer, to look ahead as much as possible. Coming to the end of this consumption test with the Ford Kuga Escape full hybrid, and we see here 4.4 liters per 100 kilometers. And now the details. Here you see the sectoral and overall consumption. I find the city consumption remarkably low, considering this is a 1.7 ton SUV. But the way this hybrid drivetrain is set up, with a rather big petrol engine running in the Atkinson cycle, with relatively low power output in combination with the hybrid system, which in principle is similar to Toyota's hybrid synergy drive, really pays off. We see here the data of the 3 full hybrids I have tested so far, and we clearly see that the parallel hybrid with the power split is the superior method. But, and I can't stress this enough, in the end it's down to the driver how much fuel is used. I know it's not a problem to use probably double the amount of fuel when you drive those cars. And I know from buyers of those cars who complain about the high fuel consumption. And sometimes it's hard to accept that the problem is not the car, but sits behind the steering wheel. That's why I made this channel, and hopefully it's of use to help you to save some money on fuel, and especially now as the prices go through the roof. If you want to see how I got an even lower consumption with the plug-in hybrid with empty battery on this loop, you can find this video here. And down here you'll find my 5 general tips how to drive full hybrids more efficiently. If you are generally interested in my videos, feel free to subscribe to this channel, and if you hit the notification bell, you won't miss any new videos. That's it for the Ford Kuga Escape. Thanks for watching, take care, see you next time.